Do you mind sharing your score in 10th and 12th? What was your biggest challenge in your 4 years at IIT?
Oh. I liked mechanics. So I wanted to do mechanical engineering.
Okay.
So then later on pointed out to me that probably a good thing I didn't do that. I was below average in my department.
Incoming batch of 23-25, right? They're going to start the B school in June. What's your advice for them?
Oh, have fun. Turn up and have fun.
All right, Rajesh, welcome. It's a formal setting. It's a bit awkward, but hopefully the conversation won't be as formal as it seems to be. So yeah, this interview is going to be about you, obviously, focusing on your education and your career. We'll talk a little bit about your life as well in general, and there's a fun segment at the end which we'll come to at the end. It's a surprise for you, hopefully a pleasant one.
I'm just hoping that I've not signed up for something without thinking it through.
We'll see. Yeah, you probably would have second thoughts about it, but we'll see about that. Anyway, starting from the beginning, tell us a little bit about where you were born and where you grew up. Like, where did you spend your childhood?
Yeah. I was born in Chennai, but my father was in a transferable job, so it was at the bank. So I used to get shifted every 2 years. Okay. I studied in 8 different schools, mostly in Tamil Nadu. I spent in Tanjavur, Kumbakonam, Dindigul, and all that. I did a couple of years in Mumbai. I did my class 4 and 5. 4, 5 and a little bit of 6, and a little bit of 4 and 6, but entire 5, 2 years in the period cycle.
Right.
And then I came back to Chennai when I was in class 8, class 9. That's when I got into this whole the JEE preparation thing. I didn't know what engineering was. I didn't know what JEE was. Bunch of my classmates were going for some classes. We all went there. By the time I went into my class 11, class 12 is when the JEE preparation thing really happened. Back then it was not a 6-year cycle. It was a year and a half, 2 years. I did most of the stuff because a bunch of my classmates were doing it. And then JEE happened. And I did engineering. I finished electrical engineering. Then
Got it.
So regular childhood, no great wealth, and definitely not not lacking in anything.
Okay. So
boring.
Middle class sense, so very regular 80s, 90s child. Okay. So growing up, this might be an obvious question, but were you like a studious kid, always surrounded by books, or was there a little bit of a brat in you?
Oh no. I was not studious. I was sharp. I knew what I was doing. I was one of those kids who was very comfortable studying, paying attention in class, and getting away with stuff. I was always conceptually rather happy, sound, and a little dicey on details, like most kids are. Things got easier for me with every passing year. And I think class 8 to class 9 was supposed to be a transition which is tricky. I was very happy. I needed to do more physics and chemistry, less of a thing. Class 10 to class 11, I got happier. More physics, more chemistry, more math, more numbers, I got happier. JEE preparation was always a happier place for me than school. Board exam pressure of needing to get 97, 98 was tricky. You need to know everything and details matter. Whereas JEE was like crack the funda, get the numbers, do the solve problem. So I think I got lucky that the so-called tougher exams were kind of more suited to what I was happier doing.
Because they were focusing on
concepts and solving and
right.
I was never a topper. I was never among the top 1, top 2, top 3 in a batch, class, school, any setting. I was not bad. I was not average. I was far above median. But I was not an example academic student in anywhere in academia.
Because you do give off that Sharma ji ka beta vibe sometimes, and also the background that you have, right? So you want that, contrary to popular opinion. And this conceptual clarity thing, right? I mean, was this ingrained in you by your parents, or this is something that just came to you naturally?
Came to me naturally. I don't think it was a conscious effort from anyone. Parents always tried to put me in good schools where we went. They put Hajar fight to get me. I think they carried this slight guilt or fear of being in small towns and unknown schools and names. When all of my cousins were in big cities and people they know, they're all navigated to big cities. So I studied in proper small towns and proper random schools. So they always would look to find a supplementary something in each place so that I wouldn't be too far behind.
Right.
Whatever I was doing. So that helped, I guess. But there's no. I was happier learning the trickier conceptual stuff.
Okay.
And than the detailed stuff.
Right.
I guess that's the way I'm built.
Right. So it did sort of naturally come to you. Okay, to a certain extent. Do you mind sharing your score in 10th and 12th?
10th was good. 12th was also good. 10th I got 437 out of 500.
Okay.
I mean, I'm saying good. I'm happy with it.
It's actually a very good score. Yeah, okay.
12th was also good. I got 467 out of 500.
Okay.
I had Hindi as my second language, which was like complete nightmare. I struggled with the language.
Right.
They were not spectacular scores. They were not bad scores. By and large, good scores.
Okay. And then IIT, was this, I mean, again, you said that most of your friends were doing it, so you sort of hopped on the bandwagon, but was this also sort of like a parental aspiration that you had growing up, or maybe a default choice given your family background or something like that?
No. I have quite a few academically successful cousins.
Right.
So the chartered accountants and bankers and not too many doctors, but engineers. They're there. So not coming from a family which doesn't have a legacy of being academically sound.
Right.
It was there. People were there.
Right.
My parents wanted me to do well. Mm-hmm. There was not a pressure to say ki you have to IIT karke hi rakhna.
Well, that's good.
It was an option and I took it.
Right.
If it had not been that, I think I would have done engineering from some college in Chennai.
Right.
And then gone on to do masters or an MBA similar to that. But there was no IIT or bust type of pressure on me. Like every middle class Indian parent, they had their aspiration, they had their thing. Of course. It was not a compelling pressurizing thing.
Right.
They went through the pressure part with me.
Okay.
Like Indian parents do.
Right. And your specialization was electrical engineering. And that was a conscious choice, or
no. Look, I didn't know much about engineering. I didn't know anything about electrical engineering. I liked mechanics. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to do mechanical engineering.
Okay.
So then later on pointed out to me that probably a good thing I didn't do that, because the mechanics and mechanical engineering are two whole different things.
Okay.
My rank fetched me electrical engineering.
Okay.
So it's not politically correct to say this, but there is a hierarchy of departments.
Right.
Every college, every era.
Right.
So my era, it was computer science, then electrical, and then it was IIT Bombay, Delhi, Madras, Bombay, Delhi, preference-wise.
Okay.
So you would kind of cross-tabulate both.
Right.
If you're manic about a department, you would go out of your home IIT. Because back then only 5 IITs, you don't have to choose. Right? So I would have not got IIT Bombay computer science anyway. Mm-hmm. So I would have had to go to, I think, Kanpur or Kharagpur to think about computer science. I was not fascinated by computer science anyway.
Right.
So I got electrical engineering, therefore I took.
Okay. Sort of a default choice. All right. Of course, your experience in IIT Madras, I'm sure there are lots of memories and stuff like that. But before we go down that route, what was your biggest challenge in your 4 years at IIT Madras?
I was a super average student.
Okay. In IIT Madras.
In IIT Madras. Right. There were moments where I was stressed out.
Right.
Where I was not finding my feet academically. Mm-hmm. A big part of it was due to me goofing off as well.
Okay.
It's the first time I got freedom. I spent a ton of time on the football ground.
Right.
And on the bridge table.
Okay. It's hard to imagine you goofing off, but football ground is fair. It's reasonable.
And I had a lot of other distractions. I simply didn't get engineering. I was used to turning up, getting the funda, and naturally being comfortable and then doing through. Right. I was not used to powering through stuff and not done that. I didn't have a legacy of doing that. Which is bad. I'm not saying it in a good way, but that is what I was there.
Right.
And I didn't have I was not good at somehow cracking things I was not naturally good at.
Okay.
So like you'd have academics who have mild spikes.
Right.
Mine would be like the stuff I'm good at. People think I'm god at that.
Right.
Stuff I'm good at is probably better if people don't know how bad I am.
Okay.
So I had a kind of a volatile graph. Engineering, I simply didn't get it.
Okay.
Quite a few chunks of engineering education also has to do with not just sitting in class and listening to the stuff, but doing your own learning.
Right.
A little bit of a lonely grind is built into it.
Okay.
So it's an academic, intense, serious degree. I vastly underestimated the amount of time I should have put to do a reasonable engineering.
Right.
My peer group was fantastic. So I got beaten up academically,
right,
which is a relative grading mechanism. So I was in a batch of 94, 95 guys. Some of them were spectacular, brilliant and diligent and capable of fighting through.
Right.
The whole package, whereas I was like, I could have my highs, but I had not picked up the temperamental strength or the rigor of fighting hard everywhere.
Correct. Right.
So I kept my head above water. I didn't flunk a bunch of courses. I didn't collapse. But I had at best, I was looking up at average.
Right. Okay.
So throughout my engineering.
Right.
And there were moments where I felt very sharply like I had let myself down. I didn't have the maturity to say, look, I'm not cut out for engineering. I should have been doing something else. Or I should have done a different department, different branch.
Yeah.
I didn't tell myself that if engineering is not the best thing, you should learn other things. I wasted, I rotted a little bit, I lost a little bit of confidence, struggled with some elements of that. I was super glad to just finish my engineering.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, and again, I'm guessing a place like IIT Madras, any candidate would suffer from an imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
That would be real there.
Because
you have the best brains of the country.
Correct. So it's a super humbling experience.
Right. I can imagine.
Even the imposter syndrome part, I was not, I didn't feel like, look, I don't belong here. Because for all the wonderful success stories, there were plenty of cases like me.
Okay.
Guys who were good, have their things, were goofing off, therefore not academically brilliant, but not rubbished as nobody. It's part of the system.
Right.
It humbles you, but doesn't rubbish you.
Right.
You have a bunch of guys who you work with, you learn, you stand with, and all that. So I was not crumbling.
Right.
That would be like fiercely overstating what I'm going through. But I was below average in my department.
Right.
Patently, obviously, clearly so. And I kind of came to accept that.
Okay.
So I had to find another place or to where I could be better than average.
Correct.
For my own field.
Of course. Yeah.
That was definitely the case. Okay. But I don't think I felt too much that I didn't belong here.
Okay.
I think I attributed it to, look, I'm not turning up.
Right.
I'm not doing my things.
Right.
I could have cut it here, but I'm not. Maybe I will somewhere else.
Okay. So this is important, right? I mean, we have a bunch of students who are going to B schools, especially if you're going to a tier 1 school or the black eyes, right? I mean, the imposter syndrome would be through the roof there, right? What's and again, because you've faced this in your life in your IIT Madras days, what's your advice to students who probably face this in the
one is you're going to have it. There's no getting away from it, and it's one of the pluses,
right?
And that you feel like, look, I don't belong here. It can be crippling or energizing.
Okay.
But you have to say, look, I need to fight to prove to myself and the world that I do belong here. So that is good. You have to look at it that way.
Right.
It rapidly fades away.
Okay.
Once you get a bunch of guys, you go into campus. I still remember the guy who was in my hostel. My previous year batch was a bunch of computer science graduates who were the creme de la creme, geniuses who know what they are doing. There was a guy called, I think, Prasanna, who's All India rank 1.
Okay.
And back in the day when you're 18, 19, All India rank 1, All India rank seems to be like the most identifiable marker about us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And here I was rather vain about my rank.
Right.
This guy was All India rank 1.
Yeah.
And it took me a whole year to just peak there. But by the time I found my feet, by the time I was in my second year, all these computer science graduates were in their third year. The guys became guys who would be playing in that position on the football field, and no longer this glorified thing that I had made into my head. So I got to know them.
Okay.
They were people.
Right.
The number fades and the people take come to the picture. So the imposter syndrome fades away.
Okay.
So you'll realize that some of these super geniuses can be really dumb on occasion, and then you'll remember them for that. Not in a demeaning way, but in a humanizing way. That lowers your imposter syndrome, your own set of insecurity. So it does go away. The one thing you have to tell yourself very consciously or very clearly, like, this is going to go away.
That's good.
Not done. That's good. And put fight.
Okay.
Fight in the window where it is not going away. Put fight. Use it as a point to say, look, I need to prove to myself that I belong here. And that should be the thought process.
Yeah. I think that's encouraging. The fact that it will go away sometime or at least reduce.
Yeah.
I think that's encouraging. Okay, so again, before I come to your MBA, right? So you went back to your alma mater, IIT Madras, to give a speech, which is of course on YouTube.
Okay.
It's a viral video, or it should go viral after this interview. But how did that feel? It
was fantastic.
Right.
But to be very honest, I was fiercely underprepared for that. I was fiercely underprepared for that. I thought in my own non-research portion, there was a general discussion with 25 students.
Right.
And we were just going to shoot the breeze, have a chat with a couple of professors and say hi, hello, and come back.
Right.
And then they introduced me and said, look, why don't you give a talk to a bunch of people. I would have been far better.
So that was not in the script. Like that. You didn't know that.
So I was shooting from the hip for no good reason.
Right.
I did not sense that it would be an important occasion. I think it stemmed a little bit from my own thought process. Okay, my IIT Madras years are in my mind, I won't call it failure years, it's a very strong word, but underperformance years. I'm not proud of my academic record or how people saw me in that 4 years. And therefore, in my own head, there was no way in hell that IIT Madras would call me to deliver a lecture there. So I completely shut off the possibility that it could be a serious thing, which is rather silly. I should have prepared for anything. If I didn't know it, I should have prepared for something that would be the real deal. So, look, it went as it went. But I was mentally prepared for a discussion with 25 students who are interested to do an MBA in a small room. And then it became a lecture at the central lecture hall, which is not good. I would have been fiercely better prepared if I knew I had a chance to deliver a lecture there. I have a lot of respect for the place because it kind of humbled me.
Of course.
And I didn't show up in my second chances.
They should call you back. And this time you'll probably be better prepared. So the thought of doing an MBA, did that happen now because you thought in your mind that you were an underperformer?
Oh, definitely. Is that
why
MBA was I'm not good enough in engineering. In IIT Madras, the subculture back then, probably even now, was heavily towards post-graduation. So IIT Kanpur is about UPSC. IIT Bombay is about a bunch of things. It's a mix. IIT Delhi has a UPSC, MS abroad, MBA, entrepreneurship, kind of the whole joint. Chennai was about IIT Madras back then was about, look, you finish and then you go do your masters.
In whatever domain.
In the US mostly. And I was super clear that I was not doing that. I knew that I was not going to do a master's so I didn't want to take up a job. Back then, the default option became an MBA. Obviously, I had to spin it in all my MBA interviews that I really wanted to do an MBA. There was absolutely no reason why I wanted to do an MBA. And I didn't know what an MBA. I didn't know what an engineering degree was when I did engineering. I didn't know what MBA meant when I joined. It was a default choice. Doing a master's, I'm not doing a master's in science. I'll go MBA. Now
the biggest question, like in your CAT preparation, did you join a coaching institute?
I did. I studied with Time. Time was I think the first batch.
Because of course 2IIM wasn't there at that time. Otherwise you would have wanted to. Let's just make that clear.
Time was. I think the Time was going from Hyderabad to other cities. At that time, it was their first batch in Chennai. So the IIT Madras was obviously IIT Madras is the place to go to get students on that. So one of the guys who ran Time Chennai, they called Bala. And he was from IIT Madras. He was about 6 years our senior. His brother was my bridge partner, so I knew his brother. So we knew him. Rather super friendly experience. He customized the course for us. He said, "Look, do your mocks. You don't have to do all this. Just turn up and have fun." It was rather nice. It was a good fun ride.
Nice. And what was your CAT score?
There's no CAT score back then. So I took my CAT in 2000.
I
think the whole percentile thingy and all came from 2003, 4, 5.
So did they give you a rank back then, or
nothing? You were either called by the institute or not called by the institute. And it was snail mail. So you will get a postcard or an envelope or whatever to your place. If you got it, there was a date mentioned. You had to turn up for the interview.
And if it gets lost, then
you're done. If the postman hates you, you're not getting into IIM CAT.
Amazing. All right. So no score.
No score.
And multiple converts or how did?
I didn't get into Ahmedabad. I got the others. I hadn't applied to Kozhikode. Other 4 I got, and then it was between Bangalore and Calcutta. Back then, we struggled with really good reasons to join colleges. My cousin and I, both of us got Bangalore and Calcutta. And he was pitching Calcutta aggressively to me. And I said, we'll go to Bangalore because my friends were there. And women in Bangalore are supposed to be. Back then, I had to keep in mind I was 21, not father of two.
Of course.
His pitch on Calcutta was solely based on Calcutta, and there's no attendance.
So
we grappled with the two.
These are solid reasons while choosing. And students listening.
One of our other friends got into only Calcutta. Kind of made it easy for us. We went to Bangalore.
Nice. All right. So again, very we can talk about this for hours. But tell us about your highlights. Maybe top 3 highlights during your MBA time in Bangalore. What were your highlights? Positive, negative, whatever.
The IIM Bangalore was a breeze. And I was this. In every batch, there's this annoying student for whom stuff just comes easy.
Right.
They're goofing off.
So complete opposite of IIT Madras.
I was that guy. I was that guy.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I would goof off and play all the time. I was part of the placement committee. I would turn up at every random event. I would be at most of the parties. I would be there. I got the funda. I got economics very happily. I was so peeved that I learned economics for the first time when I was 22.
Right.
I more or less fell in love with economics. The first year of my MBA, second year of my MBA, one of the main things I wanted to do was do a PhD in economics. I was smitten by economics. So I just took to it.
Right.
And accounts came. I had a wonderful accounts professor. Accounts came rather naturally to me. Probability and statistics was like homegrown.
Okay.
In marketing, I got beaten up, but it was one of those nice. Okay, so I don't get marketing. So it's all right. I'm very happy with it. The 5 subjects that I'm happy with. And it was I would stay up late night and teach students probability and statistics.
Nice.
So guys were super happy with me. They'd call me up at 11 and say, look, I'm not getting this question. I'll go to their room and help them. And I had a blast. I was this, in one sense, I was that cousin we all have who's super successful and doing all the right things. I was that cousin from my point back. But I was a rather friendly guy. And I don't think anybody was peeved with me as much as like what not to like. He'll come and have a chat with us. So it was a breeze in many ways. Again, I was not academically in the top 5% or 10%. But I was coasting. I didn't get out of bed and I was still in the top 20-25%. And that's the best it's good deal.
Of course. So
the exact opposite of
IIT Madras.
So the academic, that was a good highlight. I was part of the placement committee. We did quite a few interesting things there. Some of my project reports I just took to them. I did them rather well. I took to accounts really well. And therefore I took to corporate finance really well. I did a lot of operations courses, but I was very happy doing finance courses. And by the time of my third term, I was helping guys out with finance. A lot of BCom graduates, I was helping them out with finance. I was very happy with the financial frameworks. I didn't realize, but I was pretty comfortable in the financial world.
Okay.
And I was goofing off. I was that guy who would have spent a maximum number of hours quite easily on the Sepak takraw field. So I would be there at 2 a.m. and at 6 p.m. They had jokes and equivalent of memes of those days. There were no memes there. So like anybody wants to play, the rule was to say, look, if you have 3 guys, call B, he'll be there. He'll make up the numbers. So I was always there. So I was a very happy time.
Amazing. I think sort of good compensation for your hardships at IIT Madras. Okay, so you were a part of PlaceCom, right? Now, of course, we hear these stories about PlaceCom. I'm sure it was different back then.
We used to hear stories. I think even now, the stories are heavily inflated. I think that if you have 10 B schools and over the last 10 years, we have 100 placement committees, 3 go rogue, and they hit the highlights. So the placement committee has a lot of power. They get to take a lot of decisions. Placement committee members is an elected post. You have to stand in elections, pitch and campaign and win and be part of it. At least back then it was like that. The rules that they determine can have a bearing on people's most important takeaway. So like when in our year we went through a rough year. So we said, look, each person could have, you can select 3 companies that you say are your dream companies. And then once you get a job, you can sit for these 3, not another job. In a really boom year, we would say 2 jobs and second job you're out. In bad years, we'll say first job and you're out, no fallback. In between, we do this. And we said if you've got a pre-placement offer and you're taking that, you can reject it and be part of the process. If you're taking that, then that's equivalent of an offer. And you get to pick 3 companies. And then the guys would come back and say, look, I'm selecting these 3 companies. If I don't get shortlisted in any of the 3, then I'm not even sitting. So you should give me 3 companies that I get shortlisted. Which is a problem for me because then I have to give them a chance to apply for all the companies and then wait for their best shortlist. So the company comes back by saying, look, I'll shortlist 15 kids. And these guys have applied to 20 companies each. And there 6 of them feature in all of those shortlists. Before they come for the interview, I'll have to remove these 6. And the company won't add it back to 15. So I'm losing placements. So sometimes these decisions you take. There is a batch dynamic. I want to get everybody placed. There's a freedom and independent dynamic. I want to give the best choice to the best guys. These are by definition contradictory. So there's a lot of negotiation and haggling that happens. So the placement committee is sometimes a repository of trust.
Right.
The guys there have to believe. The college has to believe that look, these guys are managing these variables, and they are not looking to say what variables work best for them, because we are sitting in the placement process. So therefore, it is fraught. Anytime you see a rule, some 3 guys are going to say you've set this rule like this because you got a PPO. So and the trust deficit gets created. It expands, and then it becomes an us versus them thing, and then it balloons. It can happen. But if you don't have a placement committee and the college is determining the whole thing, that's also a tricky ground. You need student influence. Students.
Why do you think that? Because there are a couple of colleges that don't have place comms, especially the new age colleges where it's completely run by management. Because there's a clear conflict of interest here, right?
Because sometimes the college objective, the college decision making could also have the same variables. They want to get everybody placed. They want to give a fair shake to the top 20%.
Okay.
Those two are by definition opposing objectives.
Right.
If you don't have student representation in that, then you are in trouble.
Okay.
So when we did this, we used to have an elaborate polling mechanism.
Right.
With votes and points and scores to rank companies.
Right.
So if I'm saying one job and you're out, then I cannot have my 50th ranked company come on the first day.
Okay.
So all my companies would come and recruit in that order.
Right.
So the issue would come only if the college ranked 14th by the batch is my most preferred company.
Right.
And the company ranked 2, 3, 4 by the batch, company that I don't like, but I can't afford to not sit for them. So I get placed by one of them, then I have only 14 to look forward to, and I might lose out because of that.
Correct.
But otherwise, the batch dynamic feeds into the college hierarchy.
Okay.
And that's something that all students will be reluctant to hand it to management. So there is a requirement that it be run at least partly by students.
Okay.
There are infinite checks and balances.
Okay.
Not infinite, obviously, but a ton of checks and balances. There are other representatives.
Right.
Lots of what PlaceCom does is super transparent.
Okay.
We used to showcase the details.
Okay.
I think when the trust thing breaks, it balloons into something else.
Of course.
It is by and large well run. So
Okay.
there are a bunch of gossip merchants in all places.
Yeah.
And with social media and all that. So we hear this more
Correct.
than it happening. It's not a broken system.
Okay.
It's a system that has its flaws.
Yeah.
And the flaws get highlighted for everyone to
Of
see.
course.
I don't think it's a broken system. It's
That's
fine.
good.
It's a fraught
That's good.
system. It's a difficult system
Of course.
to work with.
Yeah.
Because there are conflicting objectives.
Absolutely.
And you can't say it'll be only management, you can't say it'll be only students.
Right. It has to be a conflict.
There's a hodgepodge. Things like Indian democracy.
Right.
Fine.
Okay.
So obviously it's flawed.
Okay.
Obviously there will be a highlight reel which is a bunch of bad things.
Right.
But I think that the workaround that they have right now is probably the best way under which transparency is.
Okay. So students needn't worry too much. Right. Because that's a concern that I hear from students. So
Definitely
okay. So, all right. Okay. That's good. Any funny stories from your MBA days? Anything that stands out?
Quite a few.
Right.
I was not an academically brilliant student, but I got away with it in the sense that I was very comfortable. I was a scholarship recipient. I was Aditya Birla scholar.
Right.
So my MBA was free.
Okay.
So it was a tiny few that deal. And the 5th semester in MBA is rather bindas one.
Right.
So about 1/3 of the campus goes off for exchange programs.
Right.
So the college has like a rather barren look, and the courses don't get counted. So only 4th semester is your placement thing.
Right.
So in the 5th semester, you turn up, you attend classes, you turn up and clear your papers.
Right.
Clearing is super easy by the time you know the system.
Right.
In our infinite intelligence, we had selected a bunch of courses called econometrics and statistical something like that, which is super mathematical.
Right.
Which is rather weird. We shouldn't have gone down that road because we thought the maths, MBA maths is easy, so let's jump onto it.
Right.
Easy by engineering standards, but you still have to turn up. It was delivered by Mr. Apte, the director of the college.
Okay.
But he was a laissez-faire professor. Look, I'm here, I'm teaching. You guys are idiots. If you want to learn, you turn up.
Okay.
But I'm not going to beg you to learn from this course.
Okay.
So you should know better. If you don't, I'm not going to give you a gyan.
Right.
So as it turned out, we would all doze off and we would keep our head on the desk and sleep off.
Nice.
He was known to be a nice guy who was non-intrusive. And this happened every now and then. You just so tired, you don't care, you just switch off. Not like we turn up on every class and sleep off.
Yeah.
There's one instance where we did, classmate of mine, and both of us were properly gone.
Okay.
We couldn't afford to miss that class because of our mental quality.
Right.
And we slept off. And then he's the director of the college.
Right.
We are thinking of him as a professor who doesn't care.
Right.
Which he was, in his defense.
Yeah.
And then the class ends at 12:30 and then we get called to the director's office.
Okay.
By this time we're shitting bricks. Obviously. You've sat in his class and we are and it's a director's office, right? We are ill-dressed and all kinds of things. And they're saying, look, come now. You can't afford to
postpone it.
You can't come at 4 p.m.
Right.
You, whatever's happening is happening now.
Right. So you've just woken up from a sleep.
And in 15 minutes we just scramble and go around there doing all kinds of things and saying, "Pata nahi kya hone wala." I hope we don't get it serious. And then someone from the office comes out and says, "Hey, it's not a big deal. You're here." And then Mr. Kumaramangalam Birla has come to Bangalore. And he wants to meet the Aditya Birla scholars. The other 3 of them are in the exchange program.
Right.
So why don't you guys have the meeting?
Oh, nice.
We're super relieved.
Right.
Director wasn't there.
Yeah.
So we had a wonderful man. And obviously, we like him because he paid for our education.
Yeah, of course.
So it's good. So it was a nice discussion. He just wanted to meet the guys and say hi, hello. And he just had a chat with us. We had one magical moment saying, so how was your 5th semester? I was like, I was kind of like, hey, it's fun, it's interesting and all that. But I'm playing defense, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then she said, 5th semester doesn't matter. Only till 4th semester's grades come. And I'm glaring at her and I'm scrambling to recover. No, we're very serious. Some of her friends have gone on exchange. Yeah. That's what she means. And then she wakes up and says, and then she took over the rest of the conversation. She's naturally a far better conversation than I am.
Right.
Just at one slip and I'm glaring at her saying, look, this is not what you say. So that was hilarious.
Had Mr. Birla known what was happening,
he would have been like, oh my God, what a
probably the scholarship would have been in trouble.
I'm paying for these 2 fellows.
Right. Interesting. So, okay, so of course, incoming batch of 23-25, right? They're going to start the B school in June. What's your advice for them?
Oh, have fun. Turn up and have fun. Be academically focused. It matters. You learn your stuff, get your grades and all that.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome will be there. Fight it off. Understand it'll go away. Don't get caught in this hyper competitiveness of the B school setting. Be nice to your friend. Be nice to your batchmate.
Yeah.
There'll be a couple of jerks who always take the batch to a bad point. But there are a bunch of nice guys who are there, who are not super competitive, who won't screw you over to get half a mark more. Find them, be friends with them. Yeah. It's a ride for I have my 20th year reunion this year. I'm rather looking forward to it. I want to meet my batchmates. Nice. It's not something that you want to let go because you were too intense for 6 months. So be nice to people, enjoy yourself. It's not a super difficult course. It's a demanding course, but not an intellectually challenging course.
Okay.
There's a subtle difference.
Right.
You turn up, you need to deliver lots of reports, lots of notes, submit tons of things. But it's not like this one idea is super complicated that I simply don't get it. There's no such thing.
Okay. That's good advice. One piece of advice you would give to our Prime Minister?
To our Prime Minister? I had to go around to 60 shops on a cycle and sell cigarettes and come back.
When you left investment banking, you came back to India, and then there was a complete
I worked for about 6 months in a bank in India.
Favorite film heroine?
Favorite film heroine, oh my God.
IIT Madras or IIM Bangalore?